Okay, well, I'm here with Erin Rhodes. Erin, thanks for being here today with us, for taking the time, and carving this time out. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you, started with the shot and what happened?
So I'm a healthcare worker, and I was excited to get the opportunity to be one of the first to get the vaccine. I had the Moderna vaccine was my on January 6th, which I had an immediate headache that didn't go away with any medication. That really persisted, and that type of headache really has not gone away to this day. After a few days, I had some more symptoms, which were fatigue and nausea. And I was pretty sick for about 2 weeks, where I wasn't able to leave the bedroom. I wanted it dark. I was sleeping 12 to 15 hours a day. But those were my main three symptoms. Those sort of started to cycle in and out, where I would have good days and bad days. The closer it got for the time for the second shot, I was definitely having more good days than bad. I saw an immunologist who recommended I get the second dose. They were just following the CDC recommendations of, if it's not a specific allergy, that you should go ahead with the second shot. She said they want people to be fully vaccinated. So I pushed it back a week, and I got it on February 12th. I had what everyone else seems to be describing. I had the following day for about 18 to 24 hours of feeling like the flu's much, much different than what I had felt after the first shot. Very bad muscle aches, feeling very sick. And then when it was over, I thought, great, I hope I'm done with that. But I really just went back into that same cycle with the first of sleeping a lot, fatigue, nausea, headache. Those persisted again, not able to get out of bed for a couple of weeks. Seemed to start to go back into this cycle of having good days and bad days, but over the next couple of weeks, or a couple of weeks after the second shot, there's just been more and more symptoms being sort of added to this illness. Pain in my heart, which feels like a stabbing pain inside my heart. I've had brain fog, where I often have trouble thinking of the right words. I can sometimes start talking and not know where I was going. I can be driving down the road and forget where I am. I can't think, where was I just at? Where was I going? I have to sort of look around to see where, if I recognize anything. And that might not last long, but I'm 42 years old and I've never been confused in my life. And it's a real confusion. I've had trouble with my blood pressure, with my heart rate. I get this racing heart rate. I get this fight or flight feeling that it could be when I'm trying to go to sleep. It's not really in reaction to anything. It's hard to figure out what the cause of it is, and it doesn't really go away. It's like, it can also lead to almost feeling like every bit of your strength and energy has been drained out of your whole body. I've also had swelling in my hands, itchy hands. I've had other reactions to things I've never reacted to before. I now cannot tolerate milk, seem to be a severe allergy to dairy, a severe allergy to gluten. I have other reactions to other foods. I have pain and tingling in my hands and my feet. And I sometimes say to my husband, sometimes when I eat something that I start to have this reaction to, I just sort of lay back and just let the fireworks happen. And sometimes it can get really uncomfortable.
So it's been almost, but 6
About
months.
6 months.
Yeah, you're at the 6 month mark.
Hmm.
You work in the medical community.
Hmm.
At this point, what's the doctors, what are they saying to you about what this
Hmm.
is?
In the beginning, I was out of work for about 3.5 months. I had no choice but to return to work. I carry the health insurance for our family. Um, that has been a struggle. I don't think I've made it an entire week without having to call out and see. This is the brain fog, Ken, because I can't remember what the question was. I know I was going somewhere with it.
What are your doctors saying?
Oh, thank you. So in the beginning, because I was out of work for 3.5 months, I still just I still just held to the idea that this is going to go away. I I just had faith that this was all okay and I did the right thing and this was just my immune response and it was eventually going to go away. So I waited a while. Um, the doctors that I started to go to see, they thought it was anxiety. And I even had one doctor hold my hands in his hands and tell me that I had anxiety and I should do yoga. And that was even after, you test negative for so many things. And I had very high inflammation levels. So I sort of thought going in, like, now they'll get it, but it's still, you're being diagnosed with anxiety. I've since found some doctors that I've sought out specifically through researching sort of what's happening to other people. And as my symptoms grow, trying to figure out who I think can help me. So I finally, by my request, have been assessed for and has started being treated for mast cell activation syndrome. But that was not going to come from me just seeking specialists. That was my own persistence um, and research, I guess.
What was your role in work? What's your work role within the medical community?
Oh, I'm a speech language pathologist and I do home care.
Yeah.
That's actually been the biggest challenge because if I do have mast cell activation syndrome, which it seems like I do, because I've been responding to the treatment, and that's part of the diagnosis, I seem to react to my environment, anything from food to smells, chemicals, cleaning products, heat, alcohol, changes in temperature. And for me, it's really hard going into multiple homes during a week. I've even had reactions now to cats. And I've been in cat homes for years. I've never had any allergies before, not to foods, not to animals, not to anything. I've never taken an allergy med. And being in houses with cats got progressively worse until my lips and my lower half of my face were numb after going to a house with cats. And unfortunately, um, I have no choice right now but to do that. This is the most flexible job I can do. Um, and that has been a real struggle because it's been so hot. What's happening lately is I can make it through the day, which I work 30 hours, so it's a little bit less. I make it through the day, I come home and I go to bed and I'm just ill the rest of the night. It seems like to my family, I'm sort of on strike. They've had to definitely pick up the slack. But there are other days, it's been really hard. I've started to spread my patients out farther. Sometimes I just cry in my car. Sometimes I just need the extra time between the patients' houses to recover from the previous house. So it feels like whatever the vaccine did has caused the world around me to periodically poison me. That's what it feels like. And I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know where it's going to hit next. So it kind of makes you afraid to eat anything, to go anywhere. I don't want to go into the store today to get paper towels because I know that might make me sick until tomorrow. And I don't, I feel okay right now. I don't want to ruin feeling healthy right now. So it's just been a struggle all around.
Yeah, it sounds very challenging. And from what the different stories that I hear from different people, the reactions are so varied and diverse
Hmm.
and vast, and yet and debilitating to different levels.
Hmm.
I guess it would be easy to look at somebody who say their reaction was paralysis from the chest down, and
Hmm.
look at you and say, oh well, you're just going to have to make a few minor at least you can, you can adjust, you can justify that, and yet at the same time, you have, for no fault of your or doing of your own, you've drawn the short straw as
Hmm.
one of the few that have, a small percentage that have reactions to this that has altered your life, as you've just said. What do you
Hmm.
say to those people that because it's like, hey, if it didn't, if it's not my face that's tingling, it's no big deal. I mean, if it's your face tingling, it's no big deal if it's my face, right? And so it
Hmm.
sure would be nice to see us as a society, as a collective, who you were on the front lines, you were
Hmm.
committed to helping tackle this pandemic and reaching herd immunity. What do you say to the people out there that are like, live with it,
Hmm.
get on with your life, we
It,
all got our stuff.
mhm. It's disappointing. It's disappointing to feel such strong support in the beginning. I've been working, I haven't missed work since COVID started. I've seen patients who've come out of hospitals and nursing facilities and come home, and they could have caught the virus and are yet to develop it. And we've had to wear the full PPE and be really cautious, and to drive around and see those red hearts in support of us. And you're stopping to get coffee somewhere, they see you in your scrubs and your badge, and they're like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And now I feel like a lot of us, who were really, really committed to doing the right thing, have been abandoned. And so it's a hard pill to swallow when you had so much support, and saying people's view of, it's not my face that's tingling and you look fine, so I don't really, not that, I don't that there's less care, there's less caring. I'm a person, and this affects more than just me. This affects my parents who are worried about me. This affects my husband, who is experiencing a change in the dynamics of having a wife. My children are experiencing the change in dynamics of having a mother who sometimes can't get out of bed. We live, this is their stepdad, and stepdad is brushing my daughter's hair. Stepdad is, making lunch for everybody. He's picking up the slack. Now I'm in bed, not able to do anything, and I hear them calling for him to solve problems. I mean, it affects everyone. Even my daughter has had to start to go to therapy from the stress and anxiety of seeing her mother sick. If I cough in the other room, she comes running. Are you okay? Are you okay? So it's not just me, it's my whole family. And this is happening to many, many, many people. And it's just not fair. It's not fair to have people not care.
Wow. Okay. So I guess my question, based on what you've said, is if you were the president or the queen, and you could
Mhm.
wave, obviously, if you could wave a magic wand, you would make everybody healthy. But if
Mhm.
you couldn't do that, if you, what would you, how would you solve this problem, or what would you do within the context of where we are right now in this whole process?
Mhm. I think, acknowledging that this has happened, that this is happening. So acknowledging that this is happening would be the first step. This information is out there. It's out there. All you have to do is listen to us. This isn't a mass produced effort to for anything. It's not for financial gain. It's not for political reasons. We are of all different walks of life, all different jobs, all different political affiliations. And so it needs to be acknowledged, and acknowledging it um, is not saying that we're stopping the vaccination program. I think we need to acknowledge it. I think that's the first step in getting everybody that has been suffering, even if people could get a doctor to believe them, even if the doctor didn't know how to help them yet, that is huge. That is really huge. And that would mentally help the people who are suffering immensely, just to be believed. And the next step from that would be to get it looked at, start researching this. Why me? Why all these other people? Why did it happen to us? Let's find that out. And then the next part is, letting people be aware of what the risks are, the truth, the honest risks of every option that they have, and have them make their own decision. I know there are lots of people who have watched me suffer that went ahead and got the vaccine because that was the best thing for them. Would it be the best thing for someone else? That's up to them. And then where it goes from there, I don't know. But those three things are hugely important and would change our lives for the better. Our lives of people who are at home wondering, what is going on? Why is this happening to us? Why is no one listening? It's almost disbelief that we live in this country. I'm a healthcare worker. I got the vaccine right away. I even believed so much that I got the second dose. It's just hard to believe that people are then turning their back on people like us, assuming that we're just not like them, but we are. It's beyond frustrating.
So thank you for, I mean, that's very illuminating. So why do you think the CDC, the NIH, the FDA, our government officials, the media, the medical community, doctors, why do you think they're not moving into this? Why do you think they're not acknowledging? Why do you think they're not moving toward you guys?
I think that they believe if this is acknowledged, that it will cause hesitancy with the vaccine. And I would say that's okay. People are allowed to be hesitant about putting something in their body that has harmed, even if it's a small number of us, even if it's harmed just a few of us, which it's obviously harmed more than that. Being hesitant about taking a vaccine that could change your life is okay. It's not fair to say, I'm going to let you suffer so that more people will be willing to get the vaccine when they won't have enough information to make the right choice for them.
Yeah,
to me, that's criminal.
I would even add not only suffer, but suffer in silence and suffer while being ghosted and ignored and, as you said earlier, abandoned. So.
I've met a couple of people through finding them randomly through various channels who actually live near me in Connecticut. And they are not healthcare workers. They got the vaccine much later. They don't know how to navigate this. I've said this whole time, I know what to say to doctors. I know which doctor to go see. I know when someone doesn't believe me to walk away and find someone else. I am versed in medical documentation. I'm versed in what tests are available, what type of doctors do what. These other people are lost. And when they find out that they're not alone, the messages to me are heartbreaking. They are desperate. they are sending me message after message after message, saying, I can't believe I found someone. It's heartbreaking. I don't know how someone would manage this. I'm having enough difficult time managing it with this brain fog. But fortunately for me, I'm a speech pathologist. I've started using all my memory tricks and strategies that I teach people with memory problems. I'm the best equipped to figure this out. And when you see that this continues to happen to people who don't know how to manage it, I mean, it is heartbreaking. It needs to be acknowledged. Those people know that they're not going crazy. One woman was in the hospital for a long period of time, and they eventually wanted to admit her to the psych ward. And her family didn't believe her. And she ended up saying, thank God you found me, or thank God I found you, because I don't know what I would have done. Think about the mental health aspect of not being believed, being left alone, family not believing you, needing to be in a dark room. It's overwhelming.
Wow. I mean, that's powerful insight, Erin. Do you have anything else you want to say to those that are either watching and in places of power, or those that have been in isolation that are suffering from this reaction to the vaccine, and they're listening and you have a voice to tell them? Any other final comments or perspectives?
I would tell anyone who is suffering with this to find support. There is support out there that you can find through social media, through different channels where you could just start commenting. And there are so many of us that the hope could be that someone could find your comment and find you and give you information. Know that you are not alone. My best advice for anyone who is suffering with this is to remember, I know this is a lot of physical medical problems, but you can't ignore the psychological effect that it's going to have, whether you need to reach out and start therapy to deal with some of these emotions, or a psychiatrist. Maybe there's medication that you need to be on, but reach out for help. Even just finding a person who believes you, that you can talk to about this, because doing it alone is not going to be good for you. And my other advice is try to do something every day that can give you a little bit of joy, even if it's one thing, to break up the monotony of days and days of being sick. I mean, sometimes I'll just drive down and get a coffee at Starbucks, and that was my outing for the day. That's all I can handle. And my husband will say, well, you did something. So mentally that helps. So I think that those three things: reach out and find others like us, make sure you reach out to the psychiatry community, and to try to do something every day that you know will help you mentally.
Wow, great advice and a great way to end the interview. Thank you so much, Erin, for being here and your willingness to speak out.
Okay, thank you.